Welcome everyone to Autogefühl, your number one resource for in-depth car reviews and your number one community to discuss cars. Today with Thomas and the new Volkswagen Passat GTE, the plug-in hybrid. So we got a petrol engine plus an electric drive, and we can also charge it actually directly. So no classical hybrid as we've seen, for example, with the Lexus NX. This one can really be charged. Similar to the Golf GTE, there's also a Golf GTE linked in the video description. Another review we have already done of that one. And today we're going to explain you different, very interesting things. Of course, the exterior, interior and the driving experience of the Passat GTE. Then we'll also show you an autonomously driving and charging e-Golf in the presentation. That is also very interesting. And we're going to explain to you why 156 plus 115 is 218. More to that later on. And of course, the variant also in the short presentation here. They are standing behind me, the variant estate versions of the Passat GTE. This will also be in the review, so check out that as well. And let's start here now. Starting with the design in the front, I'm really a very big fan of the GTE design because blue is my favorite color, and it's also contrasting here to the white. The pure white color, this is the correct description for that one. I picked this white car on purpose. Usually I more prefer colored cars to show you in the reviews, but here in this case the GTE contrast with the blue is the most attractive in this combination. You see this horizontal stripe going all the way from the right to the left, and we see the classic new Passat B8 design with these horizontal fins. However, you maybe realize already they are cut here and also at the same side, and that is one special reason I can already show you right now, because not when the car is closed. This is the key, by the way, GTE key. So when I open the car, you can press that one here, and this is the charging possibility for the plug-in. I'll also show you the cable later on. In the GTE, you might remember, it is placed behind the logo. I think it has just reasons how all the cables are soldered in the inside. I think with the flipping logo, that was actually a cool solution with the GTE. But here we got the sensors behind that hidden in here, so we also don't have a 3D logo in here. Then, as in the Passat Highline, for example, we also have a broader lower end here. It's also very beautiful in design. And what is special here, we got a C-form daytime running light, and I can show you that one when I turn on the lights. So when I turn on the ignition, you see there's an additional C-form daytime running lights. If you see them flickering in the camera, that's by the way because the frame of the camera is better actually than that one of the lights. They are not flickering in reality. And if you move up a little bit to the normal headlight unit, you see these ones are the LED headlights, very bright, and they got this classic Passat B8 daytime running light. In the side profile, we see this classic new Passat outline, and I think this is very beautiful because you got this coupe style here, which is formerly reserved for the CC version. And especially for the GTE is here now that we also got the chrome elements framing around the windows, also chrome at the lower part. Usually we have 17-inch alloys starting with the GTE series version. Here we got 18-inch, that's even more beautiful, and contrasting blue brake calipers. That's also a nice idea to carry out this design scheme here. Later on we'll also show you the estate version. This one is of course different then and offers more space in the rear. So if you're especially interested on that one, stay on track here with Autogefühl. And finally the rear here, we got the blue GTE logo. I've turned on the rear lights, the tail lights as well here, that you can see the signature in here. Everything else is pretty much the same than in the normal Passat. But if we take a look at the lower part, this will be a little bit funny then. We do still have a petrol engine here, but these exhausts here, they are totally fake. The petrol engine is just 1.4 liter, doesn't need such a big exhaust. And actually both sides are pure fake. I could leave my hand in here even if we start the engine and it wouldn't burn. but the very exhaust, the rear one, is placed below here, and we've got two small exhaust pipes, because these ones are still necessary because it's of course not pure electric. A short look at the trunk or the boot. Pick whatever description is fitting for your country. Electric opening in this case. And you see, well, we have the limited sedan loading area here, yes, but for a sedan, I'm actually quite satisfied with the loading space. You see my suitcase and our backpacks. If I push it all the way through, it goes quite long in there. That's, I think, quite okay. And then I can always show you what's placed behind here. Of course, we have a little bit limited space because the battery is placed behind this. We can also see it better in the variant later on where the battery is. And this is the bag for the loading cables. Two are in there, and soon I'll bring them to the front of the car, and then we'll test them right here. Let's first of all check another detail of the trunk, and that is actually that although we are in a sedan, we have a quite practical solution to flip the seats, and that's here. And then I don't have to go to the front. They are already flipped in here, and it's a usual 1/3, 2/3 split, and that's a quite even loading area. And so as a lot of manufacturers are doing these loading areas here on purpose, the even one, you don't lose too much space. You just lose some space behind or below this cover here, and that's quite okay. Ski hatch is also available, by the way. And the electric closing, and then you remember, we're always doing a safety test now. Well, I think it's quite okay. Let's do it again. Yeah, I have to do some resistance. I think it is better than other big hatches we've seen so far, but I think it could be a little bit more sensitive, because if you don't have strong arms, maybe just some child arms, then it would maybe carry on. Let's see the other way around. Yeah. Here again, I must say, make these systems more sensitive, because not everyone has strong arms. Could be a head of a child in between there, and then we have the problem. Please make them more sensitive to some stuff stuck between there. So about charging, when it's fully charged, it takes about 4 hours to really go from 0 to 100% for the charging. However, if you go from, for example, to 80%, then it can take less than an hour. It's just that the last 20%, they take actually that long to load. Then we open, by the way, you have to close the car and reopen it again. If you open it once, and then it works again. So here it is. I'm not sure, I would have preferred it behind the logo, because then we have this cuts here in the beautiful horizontal lines. And then we have actually two possibilities, because I have two cables in here, and that's, well, some playing around with them here. It's quite funny. I can put this one here. This is for the normal plug. This is a German plug here now, and you can use them all over Europe. Of course, for your country, you get a respective plug then. And this is actually the converter, because there's always the problem between the currents of the energy. We won't dig deeper into that. I'm also not the expert on that. We had some discussions about it so far. And then you just plug it in here. And there's also the second cable available if you have these official loading stations, because then you don't have a standard plug at the other part, but you see you have this powerful plug which can load faster actually for these big stations. Then you put this one in the station and that one right here in the Passat GTE. And then when you're finished, it works that way around. Of course, you have to have a loading station nearby, and that's the crucial point about the plug-in hybrid technology, I think. Let's take a look beneath the hood. That will be very interesting. You see it here. 1.4 liter turbo petrol engine, 156 horsepower on the left side. Then the right side is all reserved for the electric stuff. And here we have 115 horsepower from the electric drive. The front part here, this is actually the one, you see it's also going to the front. This is for converting the loading energy if I really use the plug. And the latter part of that one here, you see the battery was placed behind then, and here this part here, this is actually for distributing the electric energy, because we have the petrol engine and the electric drive, and this part here actually sorts everything, where it is directed, how it is set up, just to sum it up in a very general perspective, because we're obviously not engineers. Yeah, and then you ask maybe, how can this horsepower figures combined give only 218 horsepower? That is the reason we've discussed it with the GTE before. You cannot directly sum up a petrol engine horsepower count with an electric engine horsepower count, because they are running, it's a different system, running at different torques, and so you cannot just even sum it up. And so there's this system power which is generated then with a complicated calculation, and then this one has 218 horsepower. But I can already tell you right now, you really get a very good boost. And even if you just use the electric engine, it's really great because it has the torque directly. There's no real torque curve as with a petrol engine or a diesel. And that is really a lot of fun also to drive. So it's not only about, driving CO2 less in the city. Just of course, it needs CO2 to produce this one, also produce the energy. But without emissions inside the city, it's also about having fun, at least when the battery is still full. And that's of course one case. Then let's talk maybe in general about the plug-in hybrid. Also want to hear your opinion on that one. Do you think plug-in hybrids are useful? I think they're more useful than these hybrids that cannot be plugged in, because if you have the possibility to charge your car, maybe at your home, you have a garage or maybe an own house, just with some electric power outside, that is absolutely no problem then. And most of the people, at least in Europe, they don't drive too many kilometers a day. They might be different in the US, but all the commuters, they're driving maybe 20, 30, 40 kilometers a day. And that one will actually be feasible with this car. The official range is 50 kilometers pure electric. And so this will be fine if you have the charging possibility. Of course, this is a crucial point. We don't have such a good infrastructure yet, but that one will be changing maybe later on. And one more interesting aspect about the pricing, the GTE, for example, in Germany starts at 44,000 euros, the variant 1,000 euros plus. And you might think at first, oh, that's very expensive. But actually it isn't, because if you pick a Passat Highline, for example, to the top trim level with a 2-liter TDI, let's say, then you also pay 39,000 euros. So this one here is the kind of the trend line, so the middle trim level, and then something in the interior surplus. I'll also show you very soon in the interior. The interior is also in a high trim level already. So actually you get a lot of the car and the electric drive, and Volkswagen is subsidizing that at the moment. So actually this car, if they follow the normal pricing range, is supposed to be more expensive, but they say, okay, we don't want to make profit with these electric or hybrid cars right now, because then no one would buy them right now. Because if you make this car maybe like 8,000 or 9,000 euros more expensive with all the electric parts than the normal version, no one would actually buy it. Now with the plus price like 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 euros, that I think still quite okay. And if you're then in a country where you have some tax benefits, in Germany it's just some benefits with the car tax annually. But then, for example, we're here in the Netherlands here today, there's this program that you save for private drives when you have a business car. But I've heard from one of our viewers in the Netherlands that this one is actually running out, this program. So if you're from the Netherlands, maybe give us an update here in the comments. But depending on the country you're in, you get these benefits for the plug-in hybrid cars or pure electric cars. And then, or maybe also if you do some business leasing, the GTE is maybe not that much more expensive. And you might think about a business fleet owner, okay, let's say I offer some charging stations in front of the office, then it can maybe also pay off economically. Let's get to the interior, and I'm really looking forward to it because this is special here. I've extra picked GTE style version with no extra equipment with, for example, leather seats, because this is here the standard GTE equipment. And you see it's already in a high class. These ones are the fabric seats. See this contrast. By the way, it's not real Alcantara, but it's not hard fabric. It's something in between. It is fabric, but has some soft touch on the very top part. Really feels interesting. And the outside you see with more side support and blue contrast stitches, as we've already seen from the GTE with the Golf. So because this blue scheme is the signature scheme here for the GTE models and also for the electric drive version from Volkswagen. I think just as the seat is designed here right now, it's really a dream seat for a car. By the way, you see this has the Ergo Comfort. Usually they're optional. With the GTE you get the Ergo Comfort seat for the Passat, and this is even more comfortable. And you got, for example, also a lumbar support you can use in several directions. That's also possible then. And of course electric here for the rear part of the seat, and you can manually pump it up. Yo, pump it up, man. And you can slide the seat manual also to the front and the rear again. And then if we move up to the steering wheel, you see that this blue color scheme is carried out there as well. Blue contrast stitches at the inside of the steering wheel, and also quite compact and sporty steering wheel. And then what else is special? We got this checkered aluminum structure all over the place. Also, if you just feel the surface, it's very soft, so also very well executed. That is also very good with the Volkswagen interiors. Even the plastic parts, you see they're a little bit softer here, got this soft touch, and so it also looks quite good. It doesn't look like hard plastic, and it obviously isn't. And if we see the inside of the doors, also seen in our static shots, if I make it a little bit darker here, we got those ambient lighting here. There comes the focus. And this is also, you don't have to pay extra, you get this with the GTE, this ambient light, and also just in blue. You cannot change it, it's just in blue, but that's again the signature color. So in the general cockpit overview, definitely premium. Earlier it was never a comparison between, for example, a Passat and the Audi A4 or Mercedes C-Class or BMW 3 Series. Now it definitely is, and you have to wonder about, as the Passat is way cheaper than the premium competitors, but already that kind of premium in the interior, we discussed that with the Passat B8 launch. So really is a definitely new choice here, and also in the premium middle class segment. Especially if you look at the front dashboard here, where the vents are going all the way and carrying on the design scheme from the outside, from the front grille. That's a very beautiful solution. We also got an analog clock in here, and then we got the modern GPS system with proximity sensor. You can either use here the buttons, or you can also use it as an iPad style. This one is optional here so far. The best one, 2,000 euros extra in price. However, it already comes in GTE with a kind of basic version of that one. But then, just for radio and stuff, if you want to have a GPS, you always have to pay extra price. This with every car, either the less expensive one or here the top version really. And I usually just connect my iPhone here with a Bluetooth function. But there are also these new systems available for the connectivity CarNet that you can, or here App Connect, that you can also mirror your smartphone on that one. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, or mirroring, that's also possible. In other words, also the classic climate unit here. Let's see if we can illuminate this a little bit. See here, we know that from the Volkswagen, and it's actually a good quality in haptic and also acoustically. Everything has a good overview here, so you don't have to get used to it actually. And then what is special with the GTE, we got a special automatic DSG dual clutch transmission, because that's the only way that the electric drive and the normal petrol engine can be combined. So also with this blue contrast stitches. And then here we got the GTE button. This is for having the boost. So then the electric engine is used together with the petrol engine to boost it, to have a maximum driving power. And then there's also the E mode, then only the electric drive you use. For example, if I save the energy on the motorway and then I want to drive in Amsterdam or in Paris just with the electric drive, then it's actually possible just to use the E mode. And I can also change it again then in the upper screen. That is also possible with the touch here. So that is possible by that. And you see that's also near to the D mode, the driving mode, a B mode. That is for the recuperation. For example, if you're going down a steep hill, then you can choose it, and in different, I've shown you, for example, with the e-Golf, for example, now you can choose between D and B. B is then for when you're going this hill down and then you want to get the energy to the battery back again, but don't want to have your foot on the brake. Otherwise, it's actually no problem. You just go to the D mode, and then if you use the brake, first of all, the energy is recharged, and then if more braking power is used or is needed, then also the standard brakes are applied. It's good that we have an armrest here, also with the contrasting blue stitches, and you see this doesn't have to be leather to use contrast stitches. This is fabric, also very robust, and I think a very beautiful style. It makes the car more cozy and also better for climate-wise. USB port and an aux port, just some space in here, and in the front then we got some beverage holders which are kept tight with some applications here at all four sides. That's actually also quite good. And then we have actually quite big space at the inside of the doors where you can also put big water bottles in, for example. And very standard is also the glove box in the front. Let's see how it's sliding down. Well, maybe a little bit too fast, but you see also quite a huge glove box, and it can also be cooled for beverages or chocolate bars. And up here for your glasses. And finally, the active info display. It's the Audi Virtual Cockpit. Active info display is it called at Volkswagen. See if I turn on the stuff. This is optional. You do not have to pick it. 500 euros optional. So if you prefer the analog instruments, that's really fine. This one here, if you want it all digital, and I think it's a very great design with this blue color scheme here as well. You see this speed at the right side and all the electric information on the left side. By the way, again, it's not flickering in real life. It's because our camera is better than the display. But your normal eyes are worse than the camera, and therefore, as for the frame rate, and therefore we don't see it flickering in real life. I think it's a very beautiful solution here. And now I've turned on the light. And there you see that the GPS is in the central screen. And that's also a very good solution because you can really see them very well as a driver then there. But however, you know, in the Passat this is special because the GPS is also available here. And that is the difference, for example, to the Audi TT or the Audi R8. So we have both for the co-driver and the driver the perspective. See, by the way, that the frame rates of the displays are different. That's interesting. You see the frame rate of this one is not as high as that one, which is not flickering in the camera. Which one would you go for? Would you go for the digital instruments here as well, even if they're not flickering, or would you just pick the standard ones? Autogefühl Magic, I'm now at the rear seat, and welcome here. The door could maybe open a little more just from the angle, but you can get in easily. There will be a headspace special very soon because we'll compare that one also to the estate version. It will be very interesting, so stay tuned for that one. So far about the knee space, the driver's seat as I would be driving as a rather tall driver, you see there's really a lot of knee space. A little bit more even in the Skoda Superb, yes, but it's also a little bit longer the car. Really super comfortable also for tall people here in the back. That's absolutely no problem, so a lot of space. And the same color scheme also for the rear seat, and also with this comfortable middle seats which have this very soft surface. You don't really see it on the camera that it's soft, but it's soft on a micro level, let's take it that way. So you're also not leaning too far backwards, you know, something in a sedan, you're almost like a sleeping position here in the rear. That's quite okay, I think, here. So I'm really feeling also just from the seating position, they're very comfortable. I can also put down the armrest with some beverage holders, and then I can relax here. In this case, I also got a climate function here in the rear, so I can also adjust the temperature in the rear passenger compartment here. So we are also showing you a lot of choices here in the colors and also in the trim levels. This one here is Harvard Blue Metallic, that you see another color. You see the contrast blue stripe in the front is not really that attractive in combination to this color, at least that's my opinion. What you're thinking. So I think the GTE is more attractive in the white because you really see the blue contrast in. But what is really exciting is here how much space we got in the rear, because we then compare it to the estate version. So to give you a direct comparison, here by the way the full leather equipment, optional in price, but you know I don't recommend the full leather equipment. So here we have the sedan without panoramic roof. We don't have a sedan with panoramic roof here today. So the headspace I still have is this one with 1.86 meters. this kind of headspace here left. That's really great sitting in the back. However, if you think about having a panoramic roof here in the sedan, then you have to think about maybe not the tallest adults in the rear. And now let's compare the estate version. So this is here the estate version, about 1,000 euros extra in price, and you get of course a lot more loading space with it. The length is totally the same, 4,76 meters, so it's basically the same car, just that you have another rear ending. And soon showing you the trunk. First of all, the comparison here with the headspace. This one here is the estate with the panoramic roof. Let's get inside here. Okay, let's get inside. As I said, estate with panoramic roof. And what's quite astonishing is that we got the same headspace here in the estate with the panoramic roof than we have in the sedan without the panoramic roof. So here, if you want to go for the panoramic roof and still want to transport tall adults in the rear, the variant is definitely the choice for you. And then let's take a look at the estate without the panoramic roof, and there you really see the difference. Then you got huge headspace here in the rear. That's kind of space I have over my head. This is really the difference. You have to know that, because those little things are actually very important when buying the car, depending on who is actually sitting here in the rear department. Then the loading area of the estate version. There's also an electric hatch available, but just optional. Then you see this is really the advantage. By the way, a very good cover, 2 steps here. You can put them behind. There's some more space below it. Here the loading cable in that case, and you see the battery is below that. So if you pick the classic Passat variant, you have a little bit more space here, but you see it doesn't change that much actually, because that space below there, it isn't used that often actually. And then also very practical with the estate, you have these flipping levers here. However, it's already a good solution in the sedan version I've shown you earlier, but then again you have even more flexibility here. Let's start our driving experience here, and we're starting pure electric, therefore we also don't hear any engine running. And I want to show you the rear view camera first. This is of course also optionally. The basic parking aids of course include them, but without the camera. Here you can see you have different views. This one is the fake drone view from above. See, that is really, who has parked that car? What the hell? Unbelievable. And then there's the rear view camera, where as you can see when I turn the steering wheel, it's showing me where I'm actually heading at. And then there are different possibilities here as well. For example, I can put this mode here when I want to park in parallel. That's in parking aid. You see, this is, as you see here in the symbols, this is the mode when you want to have get out a parking box. This one when you want to park in or out parallelly. And this is just a different screen. And let's see what else is possible here. This is when you're really close to something. And this is even another camera perspective. Yes, so many camera perspectives, and then you can also put it very huge and change the contrast of the camera as well. You see this is rather dark, this is with a lot of colors here. Or here you can change the brightness, for example. So a lot of possibilities, but I usually just let it in standard mode. This one here then can be removed or not. The fake drone view from above, a very good thing in my opinion. So this one is better here for now. So to explain this parallel parking function here, you see, now we can see it better. I don't have a parallel parking situation here right now, but then when I turn the steering wheel, it kind of shows me where I'm actually landing with when parallel parking. That's also an interesting system. Let's continue our journey, our silent journey with the Passat GTE. And that's what I really love. Together with a great sound insulation, it is really so silent in here. You almost hear nothing. And then you really think, okay, this is the future of car driving, because yes, I do love great sports cars with a really roaring engine sound. But besides that, in other cars, it actually makes no sense to have such a roaring or very loud sound if you don't have like this special sports car. If I'm going down now here, battery is already recharging a little bit, and if I push the brakes, it's recharging even a little bit further. And then I've explained to you earlier, I can also choose this B mode. It has the B1 here in the front screen, and also can put to higher B modes, to this recuperation modes if I'm going down the hill. But I would not go for this just in normal driving, because actually nowadays you say don't use the high recuperation in the normal driving, just let the car roll, then you save more energy, and then just use the brake, because the brake is, as I stated earlier, first using the recuperation. Just use these B modes from the shifting lever here if you're going maybe in the Alps and have climbed something and then going down for a very long way, that you don't have to press the braking pad that long actually. That makes sense in here. If I'm going down with the B mode here now, you see I'm going slower and the recuperation is faster actually, and when I change to D, that's running a little bit faster then. So right now it says 42 kilometers of range, and well, I'm not so sure about it if that's really true. It always depends on, this is a big discussion about the electric range. In the winter times it is way less, definitely, because of the temperatures, and it also depends, do you have the air conditioning on, and what else of electric equipment are you using inside the car. And also hard to state any consumption figures on this car, because it depends on how much you are using the electric drive and how much not, and how hard you really press the throttle. That really depends on, so no general conclusion about that one. I really like to use the electric range fully of the car, and I can also show you very soon. We will drive the car until it's totally empty, and you can, if you really hammer down the throttle, it will grow down rapidly, I can tell you. But if you're just using rather normal driving, then it's really fine. Yes, the battery could be bigger actually, that would be definitely better, and I think with this will come in the future. So this is one main aspect I would like better about the car, if I would already have the battery here, which maybe has a range of 200 kilometers or so. That's really a major point. So far, those ones are often not cheap enough yet. So if you're wondering why we're having the parking lot feature today, it's because we have rain all day outside, and it really makes no sense to film such a thing outside. But we're driving now outside, of course. Still in the electric mode. I want to really try it, how long it lasts. Now at 41 kilometers, and now I'm driving quite relaxed, and already 40 kilometers an hour, and you hear again nothing so relaxing to drive. So it really changes your driving behavior. Don't press the throttle that hard, because you want to save some energy, and you're also not keen on that actually performance. But then now maybe if I really hammer down the throttle, so much power that the front wheels are spinning, because it's wet now outside. You maybe heard that. In Germany we say stempeln to that, to stamp some lines on the road. That's quite funny. Okay, let's go here. So now let's push the throttle again. Already at 70 kilometers an hour. Really great acceleration just with the electric engine. And again, you heard nothing. Really silent, but a very good drive just with the electric drive. I love accelerating with these electric cars. And well, that's really something. Again, 1 kilometer dropped again from the range. So you see, when you really push the throttle, it's going quite fast. And another solution would be then, for example, to go in the GTE mode. Then now we also have normal drive, but you hear it's still very silent. Now you maybe hear the difference also from the microphone here inside. And now we have the total boost from both engine. Now maybe going from 50 kilometers to, let's say, 100. That's maybe a good test. Okay, still a little bit wet. Okay, pressing on the throttle now. And 100. So very good acceleration, of course, even better than just with the electric drive. If you want to use this car as a performance car, it's really fine. Even now in the tunnel, see it's getting very dark, but it's also good for the sound insulation, and it's still kept at a very good level, also at higher speeds and even when it's wet, and also in the tunnel here. The driving, the steering wheel is very direct, I must say. Almost feels like in a sports car. It's very pleasing to me because the direct steering wheel helps you also in everyday driving. The suspension also so comfortable but I've already told you about that one in the normal Passat review. I can really just say good things about the suspension and the general riding comfort, also especially here in these comfort seats. I would really go for these special seats the GTE offers. I mean, of course, the seating comfort in an SUV is usually better, but for a sedan, really great. So let's see what the electric range says. Yeah, for example, now on the motorway, and as soon as I lift the throttle, battery is charged, and yeah, you see when I go to the B mode, the charging is increased. So if I lift the throttle, full charge now, but if I go to the D mode, the normal drive mode, it's not charging all the way then. So that's also the difference when you're going on the motorway. And you might think about, okay, maybe I want to recharge the battery a little bit on the motorway. They can just go electric, maybe near the neighborhood where I want to be silent, or maybe in the basement garage. So that one would actually be a possibility. If we go back to the E mode again, well, that's now on the motorway. This will be very exciting because here with higher speeds, we might use even more energy. However, in the E mode, it is reduced, the top speed reduced to 130 at the maximum point. And I think that's just a good solution because if you go faster, the battery would be like this and it's empty actually. So right now we have 38 kilometers left. So you see it's not going down that fast actually. But now we are setting in the automatic cruise control, which is regretfully optional with this, but in general you've seen it, we also get a quite high equipment already with the Passat GTE. So let's now set the cruise control to 75 kilometers an hour. Let's see how far the range is going down and also how realistically it is actually. 38 kilometers right now, 37. So see, sometimes it drops even further. And the total range is, by the way, it's about 600 kilometers right now, but we're also not totally full. So if you have the battery full and the petrol engine full, the theoretic range of the car is above 1,000 kilometers. But of course, it again depends on how you're really driving. So what's this one? Opel vintage car behind us. 37 kilometers now. You see, it's steadily dropping, but I think it's quite okay. It's still a difference, for example, to this normal hybrid cars, and I'm still in the E mode. When I'm going off the motorway here again, I can charge the battery. You see, I'm going on the brakes, and just the recharging of the battery is used. Well, it's actually quite good because no energy is lost then, because you can always recharge the battery also while driving. You always have some braking processes. So I think it's even more fun to drive this one here than the normal Passat because it's even more silent. And I think you really have to be a fan of the electric drive engine. But if you've driven one and then the normal petrol engine sets in, you really think, okay, maybe I'm in the last century or something. That's also a very interesting aspect about that one. About the driving dynamics, let's now go a little bit faster. Also here, maybe here right, left now, it's red. Very good dynamics also for the car. So you can also drive that one sporty. And I think that's also the good compromise here with the Passat GTE. It is a sports car and an electric economical car at the same time. And already worked with the Golf GTE, and I think it worked here again. So whenever you push the throttle with the electric drive, you know, really a lot of fun always to accelerate with it. But still, I would have expected actually that the electric range is dropping down faster. So I think so far, a very good result. I think the range that is calculated in here is actually quite reliable. So because you might think about, is it really true? But here in this case, just from our small test here, think it's really true. And it's also the same as we've experienced with the Golf GTE. It was just the GTE we tested close to the Alps as well in Switzerland. Of course, that's if you're going uphill, that is really a struggle then for the electric drive. Now, as we here in the Netherlands, most of the time flat lands, that's actually not such a problem then for the electric drive. So actually, I think the Netherlands would be very good for this electric drive. Very suitable country for this kind of concept here, also with the plug-in hybrid. And now we have a very interesting technology sidekick for you, here connected with the Passat GTE review. However, we'll also show you this video separately, so if you're watching this video separately, also join us for the Passat GTE review, linked in the video description. If we are inside the Passat GTE review, this one is just a sidekick here now. As we see here in e-Golf, there's a pure electric version with a V-charge system. And that's actually, you see all the companies that are working together and also university. And they are developing some technology that actually a car can go into a parking lot totally autonomously. So you leave the car, go shopping or go to the airport or whatever, and then the car itself is just driving and is searching a parking lot on its own. That's a very interesting system. We are also showing you this one here in the shots we've just taken. Really impressive. It was no fake, there was no external control, because it is what was actually programmed. So they programmed this car before, and at the moment it works that way. They do a 3D model of the parking lot. So the car is using the parking lot before, it's filming it with the cameras, and then it is kind of set up for this individual parking lot, and the car remembers where can I actually drive and where can I finally find a parking lot then, and then it's actually really working that the car is parking itself. I think a very interesting system. And then what is also important, that the car would also charge itself, is go to the special parking space then where we have the loading system from below, and this can also be done with an inductive system, so you don't have to use the plug-in system. It's also possible actually, but it's also possible to load the car from below with this special inductive system. So this is, I think, a great future outlook. It already works, this technology, we see it right now. It was no fake, but of course it has to be implemented in the modern infrastructure to really go to a serial production. So in another interesting technology, you see this is a new loading cable here, and it is very heavy already. Why is it heavy? There's actually much more equipment in here that the charging process is fastened up. So this one is not the one we have seen in the GTE so far here in the Passat. It's connected with a huge loading box, and then it still starts to get that heavy that maybe you don't want to do it with your own hand. You want to really have it done with a robot, and that is actually showcased in here, because then if you have these heavy cables, you maybe need the mechanical help. And this can also be a solution in the future when you have this autonomously loading cars that is being done here with the robot system, where you don't have this inductive technology, or maybe just for a fuel station, maybe in future at home or at some special stations where you need additional help to charge the car then, and you can take care about anything else and let it just be charged by the robot. So let me conclude about the new Volkswagen Passat GTE. First of all, I was already impressed with the general new Passat B8, from the exterior design and also the interior, how premium it is actually, without actually being the price of premium vehicles already. Here with the GTE you get a good subsidized deal. Yes, it is more expensive with this plug-in drive, but not as expensive as the technology is really costing right now. It will improve for Volkswagen as soon as these plug-in hybrid cars will be built more and more customers demand it. For the next 3 years, Volkswagen expect, just on a global scale, that the plug-in drive sales will triple actually, and this one maybe also clear the ground, and that the plug-in drive vehicles will also be less expensive and even maybe good for the corporations then, because right now they're not making so much money with them, just with the classic cars. But I guess this will also change in the future, and this is really, I think, a step in between the petrol and the full electric drive. I think that's also maybe a good choice, that you can do your commuting, everyday commuting, if you have the plug-in possibility at home, for example, or at your office, that you can really do it just pure electrically. But if you want to go on a holiday, on a longer trip, you still have the classic drive in there. The special GTE design, I think I really love it, with the blue contrast here in the front and also the interior. I would pick the seats as they are here in right now, with the fabric contrasting blue contrast stitches. Really also so comfortable, and it is just very pleasant in this interior. The execution of the car is really perfect in so many senses. Well, maybe the seat. It's a rather expensive seat already, also not a cheap car, so this could have been done all electronically. You see that the front and the back, and also when you put the seat higher, that is not electronically possible, but maybe they also want to save some battery power. Maybe that's the solution for that one. Everything else, also from the driving, it's really a very good car, I can just say. I love driving electrically. It's so silent. The sound insulation is also good with the car. Well, some of you moaned about the initial Passat video. It was maybe an advertisement video, but I can tell you, you know from our reviews, if something is bad with the car, for example, also the electric headset, this could be more sensitive for the security issues, we really tell you. But also when the car is good, it's also our job to tell you that it is good actually. And so we're just totally fair with every car. We don't get any sponsoring money to say that this car is great or something like that. So just the info there for you. I can just state from my free opinion, this is actually a dream car. If you would put that maybe as a present for me and would put it in front of my house, I wouldn't deny it. And so I want to also to hear your opinion on that one. Maybe also about the general plug-in hybrid version, and also maybe about the tax benefits in your country, because that's also almost interesting here for our worldwide or global community for car reviews. So thank you very much for watching this Autogefühl episode. I hope you enjoyed that one. I can really just say a plug-in is actually a good idea. Pure electric would be even better, maybe, but that is maybe more in the future. For now, it's maybe the better solution to go for that one here. I really enjoyed driving it, and as soon as the petrol engine is actually activated, you think about, oh, am I maybe in another century again? So I really prefer driving it pure electrically as long as it's possible. And I hope you also joined this future technology discussion here we've shown you earlier. That's also a very interesting aspect. So there's a lot to come. We're looking forward to the future, and that's actually state of the art here right now. Thank you very much for watching Autogefühl with Thomas. See you next time.